Hello, Maurice here. Welcome to Tanks Invest, where we're going to be talking about investing, finance, and professional development. For today's video, it's for entertainment purposes only, and also for emergency purpose as well. As of today, we saw across the board for a lot of the EV stocks and also for a lot of the growth stocks, it's been experiencing some sort of a significant sell-off across the board, right? And just specifically for Tesla and NIO, I know that I submitted two videos respectively earlier today, and I did that earlier in the noon time period on the East Coast. So there's a bit of a time differentials, right? Based on how we have seen the market progress afternoon today, right? We saw quite significant of a sell-off for Tesla, just with respect to the size of the company. It sold off about like 6.4% today, and after market hours is down like 0.75% as well. So close to about 7% downward trend today. And for NIO, it was down about like 6% as well, 7% as well, and after market hours been down 1.7% so far, so close to about 9% or close to even 10% of a sell-off today. So I know I went through two technical specific analysis for the respective stocks earlier today for the two respective videos that I posted. But I want to just like go back into the quantitative analysis, just more of an emergency to make sure that my viewers and potential investors are aware how we're shaking out and any major changes with respect to the quantitative analysis and some of the macroeconomical trends that also picked up earlier today, and see how we're trending in the near future. We're also the optimal price target for you guys to look out for if you guys are interested in buying the dip, if you may, or if there's any more further dip that we're seeing. And obviously my last price prediction for 2021 as well for both NIO and Tesla. So I'm going to combine both stocks into this one video together just to make it easier for everybody. So stay tuned, stick around, let's make some money. So looking at the technical analysis, you could see that ever since the morning for Tesla, we were starting at 663 and we closed at 627.61. And it's basically just a falling off the cliff type of momentum, right? I think in the earlier day, we had some sort of like a bounce because of the 10 o'clock a.m. type of momentum trade that subsequently bounced back up. But subsequent to that, with a lot of the negative media affectations with respect to like the workhorse, earnings call that came out, it was significantly lower than Wall Street expectations, and also with respect to the CPI report that's coming out, a lot of negative media affectations that baked into this to specifically the EV sector, right? That subsequently drove this significant sell-off across the board today. And you can see that overall we've been just on a downward slope. At our side, we've been basically consolidating in more of a, not like a steep fall, but more like a gradual escalator type of momentum downward trend, and which you can see from here on the RSI, basically consolidating, and MACD is basically crossing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Like Wall Street's basically thinking about which way to go, but overall in more of a consolidated downward fashion, right? So right now on a daily on a daily chart, definitely downwards. But look at it on the daily perspective, right? Similar to my video earlier today, we talked about the wedge, right? And slowly we are basically bouncing back and forth with respect inside this triangular formation that we have here, right? But you can see that we are slowly breaching the formation, which is forming an outlier into the momentums that we've been seeing so far. And this is a little bit of a worrisome play that I'm identifying so far. So I do foresee some sort of a more of a downward trend in the next couple of days, on a daily perspective. Our side, we are pretty much close to significantly oversold. On MACD, we are crossing downward, so we are going to be seeing some sort of a more of a downward trend in near term. And also on the technical analysis, the next resistance level is going to be somewhere around the 589, 590, and obviously the $600 level, which we'll test first. But that's like the next resistance level that we have seen historically that we need to look out for, the $600 level, right? But you can see that we actually hit 587 at one point, right? So we will, I do foresee us, because of the fact that we did break the triangle, we will be testing this 590, 600 level one more time as a psychological level before we bounce back up. And I think this will be pretty much a sharp V-shaped recovery that we'll be getting. I know the CPI report is coming out like in the next couple of days. So contingent on how the CPI report is gonna come shaking out, you know, we've been down so many days now. You could see that we've been down how many days? Like we've been down for close to 2 3 weeks now. You cannot have this much of a down day or down week. You can only go as much as you can down, right? You gonna come back, bounce back up eventually, right? So what I see is like I actually predict that the CPI report's gonna come out like fairly neutral, but by then people are gonna stop buying in because they will be like, oh, it's not that significant or severe like they thought it was going to be. Then it will subsequently rally back up. So what I see the play here for tomorrow, I do see like a continuous red day, and I think we might potentially test like the 600 or like the low 600s, possibly even breaking the 600 to like the 590, like the high 590-ish level, and then bounce back up by Wednesday and Thursday. I do see that we will be staying within this box going forward, knowing the fact this is a really, a quantitative momentum formation that we have here. If it was to break that, it will need some major black swan events for it to happen, which I don't foresee that to be happening. Right, so again, right, the next 2 days I think will be a down day, and then on Wednesday and Thursday I see gonna be a green day, which subsequently bounce back into the box. So by the end of the week, I do see us, landing somewhere within the box. So that means technically we will be trading above, like somewhere around like the 630, definitely not below 500. If we do break that, that's something just watch out. I think because like you will basically see the 540 again, which is another $100 downside from here. But unlikely, again, knowing the fact that we've been selling off that significantly now, and that will require some major outliers again, right? So look at the Neo. Neo is pretty much like bouncing back and forth with this like Great Wall, the Great Wall of China, if you may, that has been forming right here. I don't really see any major formation that's deterring or like changing or forming any outliers with respect to how it's been trading so far. It's been just basically bouncing up and down like the handball court, if you may, right? Or the ping pong table, if you may, right? And the formation is very strong. It's very extremely firm. But right now, as of after market hours, we did break that resistance level, even though like historically we've been pretty strong at the at the 34 $35 level. But after market hours, we did see some downside, so we did break the resistance level. So the next resistance level for Neo right now would be somewhere around here, which we saw in the Black Swan events in March, on early March 8th. I specifically remember that day that it was something that has to do with the Federal Reserve announcements and some very negative media affectation also baked into it with respect to the chip shortage. That subsequently drove down the stock to this level right here, right? So I do foresee us possibly bouncing back and forth here. Tomorrow I think we will have like a slight red day, but by the end of the day, I think we will have like a green day, so it'll be kind of neutral, knowing the fact that today was such a big sell-off day already. I think if we were to test down here about like the 31.75 or like the high 31 level or like 32 level, that's possible if the CPI report scare some people away, or some negative news that comes out tomorrow that further shakes off the market as again. That's possible for us to get to like $32 level. But in terms of like how steep the fall is going to be, I don't think we're gonna see like the $20 level again. It's gonna be very difficult for us to see the low 20s again, because of the fact that we sold off so significantly now. This is like what, like a 100% sell off so far. That's pretty steep. And right now we've been forming this 1 2 3 4 5 5 times, that we're about to do this for the sixth time now. For us to keep going downwards, that's just ridiculous. I just don't see that happening, knowing the fact that there's a lot of good institutional interest. Wall Street consensus again, right, is at the $60 level on average. Long term wise, is gonna be $100 stock somewhere in the near future, in the next 18 to 24 months. So right now, this is just people overly reacting overall. And look at the RSI, highly oversold. Look at the MACD, we all crossed downward, so I do foresee us to be like slowly going down a little bit tomorrow. And you could see that we are already kind of bouncing back up already. We were kind of kind of oversold at like all the way down to like the 33.77, but like we see some institutional or some like aftermarket investors are buying, right now at the dip, knowing the fact that this is such an oversold stock that it just makes no sense. This is so much emotions in play right now that is kind of shifting away from just the business fundamental anymore, right? So highly oversold on a huge discount, definitely a good stock to buy. And just to recap on basically my updated or revised entry numbers to look out for both Tesla and NIO, I think currently 625 is a great price to buy in if you think about like 1 to 2 years long term perspective. If we go down, the next resistance level is going to be 600, which I think that's possible because of the RSI and MACD. It is forming some sort of a short term downtrend duration. So possible ahead of the CPI report, people is going to be kind of worried and scared, right? It feels like very much like a make it or break it type of thing, but which I think that's just overreaction overall in the consumer mindset. So I think it's more of a psychological play, but if you're thinking as more of a conservative, analytical investors, long-term value play, 600 is a steal. If we get down to 575, if more people are even more scared, that's possible. But that will require again, right, a black swan event or something super negative that really shocks the world type of negative news. Then that's possible, which is a next resistance level that we formed, and that happened in March 8th. That black swan events that happen, but for that to happen, there will be like a 5% possibility, right? Again, right, with respect to my year-end price target, will be $950, which will give you a 52% of an upside if you buy now, or 1.5 times. Right, for NIO, I think right now is a fair price, 34.50. We are at the ping pong table bottom, Great Wall of China level resistance, right? So if you buy it now, I wouldn't really blink an eye. I think the stock is highly oversold already. So oversold. It's at a huge, huge discount right now. And if we get to 32.50, that's just like, come on, man. It's like ridiculous right now. If we get down to like the 31.75, the 31.32 level is very hard to break, right? It's very hard to break through the $30 level. To get down to like the 20s again, very unlikely. I would give that like a 2% possibility of us getting there, but just like the resistance level would be forming around like the $34, $35 level. It's been just like stonewall type of resistance, right? We've been bouncing off of that 3-4 times now. We're about to do that for the sixth time. So for us to break that, it will just require another black swan events, like I mentioned, with respect to how Tesla's correlates as well, and how the investors are psychologically thinking as well, right? And at the end, I still maintain my optimism for the price target at $85 at the end of the year, at about 146% upside, or 2.5 times your money. So overall, two really good value play stocks. Obviously, people are scared, so that's the perfect time to buy right now. You should never buy when it's at the all-time high. At the $900 when Tesla was trading at like back in Q3, Q4, right? So definitely to be mindful of, but right now is a perfect time to buy while everybody's getting crazy scared right now. For today, I appreciate you guys for listening in again. If you watched my previous video already, this is more of a revised emergency video, knowing the fact that I'm assuming that a lot of investors are pretty scared right now with respect to like what's happening. Is EV stock done? Are we crashing? Is NIO crashing? Is Tesla crashing? But I just want to like bring my analytical perspective, and also just like give you a safe clear mind, just make sure that we are trending accordingly. And I say that based on the analysis that we've done together so far, we are trending in the right directions. We are highly oversold across the board right now. And this is just a fear of media affectations and both like just like shake off of weak investors, But if you think long term, we think strong and think, with business fundamentals, not with just like purely emotions, this is perfect time to buy. This is the perfect time to build value long term. Okay. So appreciate you guys. Please subscribe and hit the like button, and also hit that bell of notification as well. Please look out for the next video coming up. Thank you so much again. Take care.